1 pound of hamburger should not be enough to feed 6 people. But for millions of American families, it was. And the real trick was never the meat. It was knowing how to make that meat travel through gravy, rice, potatoes, bread, soup, and casseroles big enough to cover the dinner table. Long before boxed meals promised to solve supper, home cooks were already solving 4 problems at once: spend less, waste less, work faster, and somehow make dinner feel like there was plenty. That last part matters because children rarely remember the grocery budget. They remember onions hitting a hot skillet. They remember the scrape of a spoon against a cast iron pan. They remember coats hanging by the door, potatoes browning on the stove, and somebody calling them to the table. Dinner appeared, even when money was tight. The more I studied those old ground beef meals, the less they looked like poor food. They looked like household technology. So let's count down 25 of the smartest ways American families turned 1 ordinary pound of hamburger into a meal that looked, smelled, and felt like enough. Number 25, creamed hamburger on toast. It may be the plainest dinner on this list, and one of the smartest. Ground beef went into a hot skillet and browned until fat collected around the edges. Flour was stirred directly into the meat. Then milk went in slowly until the whole pan became a thick, peppery gravy filled with bits of brown beef. Then came the toast. That was the secret. A pound of beef divided into 6 little piles looks small. A skillet of beef gravy poured over 6 pieces of toast looks like supper. The sauce spreads the meat flavor across the whole plate. The bread catches every drop. What would have been a modest serving of hamburger becomes warm, heavy, filling food. Creamed chipped beef became familiar to generations of American servicemen through military kitchens, and home versions made with ground beef followed the same basic logic. The bread was not pretending to be meat. It simply made sure none of the meat's flavor went to waste. Number 24, hamburger hash. If gravy makes flavor travel through liquid, potatoes make it travel through fat. Picture a weeknight kitchen. Someone has just come home from work. Children are asking how long until dinner. A pound of hamburger hits the skillet with chopped onion. Then 4 or 5 potatoes go in beside it. At first, the beef still looks like the main ingredient. A few minutes later, it is everywhere. Rendered fat coats the potatoes. Browned pieces cling to their edges. Onion works its way through the entire skillet. Then the lid comes off. You hear that hard sizzle. A metal spatula scrapes the bottom, turning over potatoes that have gone crisp and brown. That sound meant dinner was almost ready. The potatoes never had to imitate beef. They only had to carry its flavor. And children eating those crisp edges did not have to know payday was still 3 days away. They just knew they wanted another spoonful. Number 23, Spanish rice with ground beef. This meal solved the same problem with absorption. Brown the meat with onion, maybe green pepper. Add tomatoes, rice, liquid, and seasoning. Cover the skillet and let the rice do what rice does best. It drinks. The grains absorb tomato, salt, beef drippings, and spice as they cook. Suddenly, the beef is not sitting beside the starch. Its flavor is inside it. That difference explains why meals like this stretch so well. The cook was not hiding hamburger under a pile of rice. She was using rice to capture everything she had already paid for. And I think that question appears again and again in good budget cooking. What can carry the flavor farther? Sometimes the answer is bread, sometimes potatoes. Here, it was a cup of dry rice becoming a full skillet of supper. Number 22, porcupine meatballs. This may be the strangest example of thrift becoming fun. Uncooked rice was mixed directly into seasoned ground beef, rolled into balls, and simmered in tomato sauce or thinned tomato soup. As the meatballs cooked, the rice expanded and pushed outward through the surface like little white quills. That gave the dish its name. But think about what that name accomplished. An adult might understand that rice was stretching the meat. A child saw porcupine meatballs. Dinner was not smaller. Dinner had a funny name. That may sound unimportant, but feeding a family has never been only about calories. Expectation matters too. If the plate looked generous, smelled good, and arrived with a story attached to it, the meal could feel larger than the arithmetic behind it. Number 21, hamburger vegetable soup. Now the beef stops being the meal. It becomes the engine. Brown 1 pound in the bottom of a heavy pot. Add tomatoes. Add carrots, potatoes, corn, green beans, half an onion, or whatever vegetables need to be used. Then add barley, rice, or macaroni if the pot needs more weight. Broth if you have it, water if you do not. Then let the pot work. The beef gives the liquid fat and roasted flavor. The vegetables give volume. The starch makes everything more satisfying. And ingredients that might otherwise have been thrown away suddenly get another chance. A carrot going soft still mattered. Half an onion still mattered. The last spoonful of corn still mattered. Waste prevention was not a trend. It was part of dinner. And when the kitchen windows fogged from a pot simmering on the stove, nobody at the table needed to know what had been rescued from the back of the refrigerator. They only knew the soup was hot. Number 20, unstuffed cabbage rolls. Traditional cabbage rolls take work. The leaves must be softened, separated, filled, folded, and arranged. The weeknight solution was brutally simple. Stop rolling, brown the beef. Add onion, tomatoes, rice, and chopped cabbage. Let the cabbage collapse into soft ribbons while the rice absorbs the liquid. Same basic flavors, far less labor. This is one of the things I think we misunderstand about convenience. Convenience did not always come from a factory. Sometimes it came from a woman deciding there was one step in a recipe nobody would miss. And on a Tuesday night, Tuesday 1, the meal still tasted familiar. The family still ate. Nothing important had been lost. And here, the larger pattern becomes impossible to miss. Ground beef was valuable not simply because it was inexpensive. It was valuable because it was already broken apart. You could distribute it, mix it with rice, and it became larger. Put it in gravy and the flavor spread. Cook it with potatoes and its fat seasoned the starch. Mix it with bread and the meat could actually become more tender. That is why I hesitate to call these ingredients fillers. In many dishes, the so-called filler improved the food. These cooks may never have used phrases like moisture retention, starch hydration, or flavor dispersion. They did not need to. They had dinner to make. Number 19, beef pot pie. This one solved the problem through presentation. Ground beef with gravy, peas, carrots, and potatoes might look ordinary in a skillet. Put it beneath a browned crust, and everything changes. Now dinner arrives at the table as one complete object. The knife breaks through the crust. Steam rises, gravy pushes into the opening, and individual servings come from something that looked whole before anyone touched it. That visual matters more than we usually admit. A crust gives inexpensive ingredients a boundary. It tells the eye that this meal was planned. To me, that is one of the great tricks of old budget cooking. Do not make a cheap ingredient apologize for being cheap. Give it structure. Give it color. Put it in the center of the table. Number 18. Hamburger Stroganoff. Here, the trick is richness. Ground beef, onion, mushrooms when available. A creamy sauce and egg noodles could turn a small amount of hamburger into something that felt almost luxurious. Mid-century American versions often leaned on condensed mushroom soup because one can provide salt, thickness, mushroom flavor, and consistency. And the noodles were doing more work than they got credit for. Every ribbon carried sauce. Every forkful tasted like beef, even when there was only a little meat on the fork. That is another principle hiding inside these meals. Flavor distribution can matter more than portion size. The cook was not necessarily increasing the amount of meat. She was increasing the number of bites that tasted like meat. Number 17. Stuffed bell peppers. Now, household engineering becomes almost visible. A pepper becomes a container. Rice expands the filling. Tomato adds moisture. Ground beef supplies the savory backbone. Then the peppers go into the oven as individual portions. That solves a problem food history rarely talks about. Fairness. When food is limited, portioning matters. A stuffed pepper quietly says, "This one is yours." Nobody has to watch the serving spoon. Nobody has to wonder whether the person before them took too much. That may seem like a small detail. I do not think it is. Good family cooking often reduced tension in ways that had nothing to do with flavor. Sometimes the feeling of abundance began with knowing your portion was already waiting for you. Number 16. Tamale pie. Tamale pie developed in the United States as a casserole inspired by tamale flavors, rather than as a traditional Mexican tamale enlarged for the oven. The key ingredient was cornmeal. Cheap grain became structure. Seasoned beef, tomatoes, onion. Sometimes corn or beans went into the dish, while cornmeal provided the body that made the meat go farther. But there is a larger story here. Family cooking has never been frozen. It borrows, it changes, it simplifies. It adapts whenever ingredients, schedules, or circumstances change. That is why I am careful when people talk about traditional recipes as if every tradition arrived fully formed. Many traditions began because somebody needed a faster answer. Number 15. Chili with beans. Here, 1 pound of beef almost disappears into the architecture of the pot. Ground beef, onion, tomatoes, beans, chili powder, maybe cumin, then thyme. Beans bring protein, starch, and bulk. Tomatoes carry acidity. The meat gives the pot depth. A spoonful of chili does not ask how many ounces of beef are inside it. It asks whether the spoonful feels hearty. And chili had one more advantage. It came back well. Dinner tonight. Lunch tomorrow, maybe over a baked potato later. Maybe spooned over rice. One cooking session could become several different meals. That is not just food thrift, that is labor thrift. And by the middle of the 20th century, labor was becoming a bigger part of the story. Women's participation in the American labor force rose from 33.9% in 1950 to 43.3% by 1970. More women were earning wages outside the home. Dinner still had to happen. Then, in August of 1971, Hamburger Helper went national. General Mills says 27% of American households bought it in the product's first year. That number tells us something. I do not think companies simply convinced women to buy knowledge their mothers already had. They sold something else. Certainty. Brown the beef. Open the box. Add liquid. Follow the clock. The noodles were inexpensive. The seasoning was inexpensive. What the box reduced was decision-making. And when time becomes scarce, certainty has value. Convenience food did not win because home cooks suddenly forgot how to cook. It won partly because time became another ingredient families were running short on. Number 14. Tater Tot Hotdish. This may be the perfect collision of industrial efficiency and household efficiency. Tater tots were developed in 1953 by the Grigg brothers behind Ore-Ida as a way to make use of potato scraps left from French fry production. Think about that. A factory takes what might have been waste and turns it into a product. Then a Midwestern cook places that product over ground beef, condensed soup, and vegetables, and turns 1 pound of hamburger into a full casserole. Efficiency meets efficiency, and visually, the tots do something brilliant. They cover the entire top. Nobody sees a thin layer of ground beef underneath. They see a full 9x13 pan covered edge to edge in crisp potatoes. A full surface creates the feeling of a full meal. Number 13, Sloppy Joes. This time the stretcher is sauce. Ground beef is crumbled small, then coated with tomato sauce or ketchup, onion, mustard, seasoning, and sometimes a little sweetness. Then it goes on to soft buns. The sandwich is messy. Sauce runs down the side. And somehow that mess is part of why the meal works. The diner experiences bread, beef, sweetness, salt, softness, and sauce all at once. There is no clean moment where the eye measures the meat by itself. Loose meat sandwiches already had a place in Iowa food culture before the saucier Sloppy Joe became an American staple. And the basic logic is nearly impossible not to understand. Break the meat small, coat it well, put it on bread, feed everybody. Number 12, Hamburger Rice Hotdish. This may be one of the least glamorous meals in the entire countdown. That is exactly why it matters. Beef, rice, condensed soup, water, no beautiful vegetables required. No fresh herbs, no special trip to the grocery store. The rice waits in the pantry. The soup waits on the shelf. Resilient food often looks boring because its greatest talent is simply being there when everything else is not. I noticed this again and again in old recipes. The ingredients that saved dinner were often the ingredients nobody photographed. Rice, beans, pasta, canned tomatoes, potatoes, soup. They were reliable, and reliability may be one of the least celebrated forms of comfort. Number 11, Johnny Marzetti. In central Ohio, versions of this baked mixture of ground beef, pasta, tomato, and cheese became deeply associated with school cafeterias, church suppers, and family dinners. The exact origin story has been debated, but its connection to Columbus food culture is strong. More important for us is why a dish like this spread. It's scaled. Macaroni was inexpensive. Tomato carried flavor. Cheese added richness. Ground beef gave the pan enough meatiness to feel substantial. A family could bake one dish. A church kitchen could bake 10. A school cafeteria could make enormous pans. That ability to scale turned home cooking into community food, and community food has a different job. It must be forgiving. It must wait. It must feed the unexpected person who showed up anyway. Number 10. Cottage pie. Ground beef and vegetables underneath. Gravy in the spaces. Mashed potatoes spread across the entire top. Then the oven browns the peaks. The potatoes do more than stretch the meat. They hide the arithmetic. You do not see 6 small servings of hamburger. You see 1 complete dish. And when the serving spoon breaks through browned potatoes into gravy underneath, nobody is calculating ounces. That may be the hidden theme of this entire middle section. Good budget meals make limits less visible, but the final meals go further. They do not simply stretch hamburger, they transform it. Number 9. Salisbury steak. The name reaches back to Dr. James Henry Salisbury, a 19th century American physician who promoted minced beef as part of his theories about diet and digestion. What later reached diners, cafeterias, frozen dinners, and home kitchens was much more comforting than medical. Ground beef was mixed with breadcrumbs, egg, onion, or seasonings, then shaped into oval patties and finished in gravy. And that oval matters. A round patty looks like a hamburger. An oval patty beneath brown gravy starts looking like steak. The meat has changed status without changing price. Food psychology, hiding in plain sight. Number 8. Bierocks. Across parts of the Great Plains, German-speaking immigrants from Russia brought food traditions suited to work, travel, and hard weather. Bierocks combined ground beef, cabbage, and onion inside bread dough. The cabbage stretched the meat. The dough stretched it again. But portability was the breakthrough. Dinner could travel. A field worker did not need a plate. The food stayed inside the bread. Good household cooking was always solving more than hunger. Sometimes it was solving distance too. And when somebody bit through warm brown dough into beef and soft cabbage, thrift disappeared. All that remained was lunch. Number 7. Hamburger Chow Mein Hotdish. No, this was not traditional Chinese cooking. That is part of what makes it interesting. Midwestern casseroles combined ingredients like ground beef, celery, rice, condensed soup, bean sprouts, and crunchy chow mein noodles into something that felt different from the usual meat and potatoes supper. Families on tight budgets still wanted novelty. Children still got bored. Adults still wanted Tuesday to taste different from Monday. I think that is another overlooked job of a home cook. You were managing money, you were managing nutrition, you were managing time. And you were also managing repetition. Thrift without variety can feel like punishment. Sometimes a crunchy topping and an unfamiliar name changed the mood of the whole table. Number 6. Beef tacos. Modern American taco night makes the stretching principle almost visible. Ground beef can be combined with refried beans or simply divided among tortillas, then surrounded by lettuce, tomato, cheese, onion, and salsa. Bowls fill the table. Hands start reaching. Everybody builds their own. There may not be much meat inside each taco, but the table looks busy. There are choices everywhere, and choice itself creates a feeling of abundance. That is something a casserole cannot do. A build-your-own meal makes dinner feel like an event. Number 5. Swedish meatballs. Now we return to bread, and one of the most useful techniques in the entire countdown. Bread or breadcrumbs soaked in milk create what cooks call a panade. Mixed into ground meat, that soaked bread can help retain moisture and keep meatballs tender. The bread does not merely create more meatballs, it can create better meatballs. And this may be my favorite contradiction in the entire story. In one kitchen, bread mixed with meat is called stretching the grocery budget. In another, the same principle gets a French culinary name. Thrift and good technique were never enemies. Sometimes they were exactly the same thing. Roll the meatballs small. Brown them. Finish them in gravy. Serve them over noodles or potatoes. 1 pound of ordinary beef now feels like party food. Number 4, poor man's steak. The name tells you what this dinner was trying to provide. Not deception, experience. Ground beef mixed with crackers or breadcrumbs could be shaped, chilled, cut, browned, and simmered in gravy. Then it went on to a plate with mashed potatoes, knife, gravy, potatoes. A piece of meat for each person. The family gets the rhythm of a steak dinner without buying individual steaks. Because people do not really eat ingredients. They eat meals, and a meal carries expectations about what a normal evening should feel like. Number 3, American goulash. This has little in common with traditional Hungarian goulash. But as an American family meal, it may be one of the most efficient pots ever created. Ground beef, onion, tomatoes, elbow macaroni, water. The macaroni cooks directly in the sauce, absorbing the beef and tomato flavor as it softens. 1 pot fills the table and often leaves enough for tomorrow. In one house, it was goulash. Some New England families called related dishes American chop suey. Elsewhere, similar mixtures picked up names like slumgullion. Names changed from town to town. The logic remained. Use 1 pot. Use what you have, make enough, and if tomorrow's bowl tastes even better, that is a bonus. Number 2, hamburger gravy over mashed potatoes. Nothing is hiding here. No fancy name, no unusual ingredients. Just browned beef, flour, milk, salt, pepper, and a mountain of potatoes. Yet this may be the clearest example of flavor distribution on the whole list. The beef becomes gravy. The gravy runs into the potatoes. Every bite carries both. That is why the meal feels heavier and meatier than the amount of hamburger alone would suggest. You can almost hear the spoon scraping the skillet for the final streak of gravy. Nothing left behind. Not because somebody gave a lecture about food waste. Because that last spoonful still tasted good. And then there is number 1. Meatloaf. Not because meatloaf is the most forgotten meal on this list. It is not. It belongs at number 1 because it brings nearly every idea in this countdown into one pan. Bread soaked in milk creates the panade. Egg helps bind the mixture. Onion brings moisture and flavor. Seasoning spreads through every slice. Ketchup on top browns into that familiar sweet, tangy glaze. But the biggest transformation happens before the oven ever closes. 1 pound of loose hamburger looks like an ingredient. A meatloaf looks like a centerpiece. That is not just culinary transformation, it is psychological. The loaf goes into the middle of the table. It can be sliced evenly. Everybody gets a piece. Mashed potatoes fill the rest of the plate. Vegetables fill the edges. And if 2 slices survive dinner, tomorrow they become sandwiches. 1 cooking session becomes 2 meals. 1 pound becomes something that looks larger than 1 pound. And ordinary hamburger becomes something a person might remember 50 years later. That is why I do not think the real story of these dinners is poverty. And we should not romanticize hardship. Running out of money was hard. Stretching groceries because there was no other choice was hard. Women who carried paid work, childcare, housework, and the expectation of a hot dinner were not living inside a perfect nostalgia painting. That is exactly why their knowledge deserves respect. They were constantly converting uncertainty into routine. A paycheck might be late. The refrigerator might be nearly empty. Plans might fall apart. The children did not need to know. At 6 o'clock, something still came out of the oven. Plates still appeared. Someone still called everyone to the table. Someone still said, "At dinner." That is the part of this story I find hardest to forget. Food security is not only about how much food is sitting inside the house. For a child, it can also be the feeling that dinner will happen again tomorrow. These dishes created that feeling with very ordinary ingredients. Rice, bread, potatoes, beans, pasta, cabbage, gravy. None of them glamorous, all of them useful. And maybe that is the lesson worth carrying into our own kitchens. Abundance does not always mean buying more. Sometimes it means understanding what you already have well enough to make it work harder. So now I want to hear your family's version of this story. Which one of these meals showed up in your house? And even more importantly, what did your family call it? Was goulash called American chop suey where you lived? Did your mother make hamburger gravy? Did your grandmother use oats and meatloaf instead of bread? Did your family have a hot dish, hash, casserole, or one-pan supper that nobody outside your town seems to remember? Tell me in the comments. Those family names, substitutions, and little disagreements are often where the real food history survives. And if you enjoy forgotten American dinners, old kitchen techniques, and the stories hidden inside ordinary food, subscribe to the channel. Because these recipes were never simply instructions for feeding people cheaply. They were knowledge passed from one kitchen to another, often without ever being written down. And the next time you see one lonely pound of hamburger sitting in a grocery cart, remember this. The remarkable part was never how much meat there was. It was how much someone knew how to do with it.